Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. This is the Heart Led Soul Fed podcast. I'm psychic medium, soul purpose mentor, author Christine Gold, and pet nomad as well. Welcome to the show. I hope you're enjoying your summer wherever you are in the world. Let me know where you are and what's going on. And where are you? Are you on vacation? Are you just having a staycation? I'm really curious. As always, myself, I'm having a little bit of a staycation before the madness of the Calgary Stampede starts. Officially, it starts tomorrow with the stampede and all that and the parade. But yeah. Anyways, growing up in Calgary, I've had plenty of my stampede time, so I tend to go out of town. All right. So if you love the show and want to share it with others, please do all those wonderful things to support the community, the soul healers community, and envisioning the Soul Healing Retreat Center as well. Something that has been near and dear to my heart for the last 5 years. Um, and I know I'm not the only one. I've ran into so many people who are doing the very same thing. A lot of off grid people as well. I think it's fantastic. So if you are, let me know whether it's live or you're on the replay. But I want to talk today about the sound of freedom. And yes, it is based on the movie that has just come out with Jim Caviezel, and it is about child trafficking. And I've seen a lot of people sharing, and I'm going to see the movie, and you got to go see the movie, and we've got to support this. And then I've seen the other side where, this is just the tip of the iceberg in regards to this. I've heard from different sources that this movie was shelved for 5 years because Hollywood didn't want to, Dirty Little Secret. Remember that song? Trying to remember who sang it, but good song. And it really applies to what's going on here and how deep this is. And we just had that super moon, one of four, in Capricorn. So more things are going to be coming to the surface. And there was actually, I don't remember her name, but she was on YouTube and she was a sex trafficked. And she was saying that this movie is a farce. That, the real change needs to happen. And this movie just gets people to go out and sit in a comfy air-conditioned theater eating popcorn, and then they leave and nothing changes other than they might be more aware, but they're probably thinking like you and I, when the problem is so big, how does change happen? Well, it does start with awareness, and I have no experience in trafficking whatsoever. Um, All I know is I couldn't imagine, if you're listening to this or watching this, what you're going through. And I really feel this, we need to talk about this more and more. And even in the work that I do, when you're holding sessions and mediumship readings, um, these things do come to the surface. I think it's 1 in 3 have been sexually abused in some way. Um, and to hear people sharing their stories, this is fantastic. Um, and whatever is hiding in the dark must come to light. So if you're a fellow light worker empath, it's not easy. It is work, and maybe you're tired, so you need to just go and rest. There's nothing wrong with that. No one says you're going to change the world, right? and you're not gonna save the world, but it starts with one person, and it can easily start with you as well. So, um, and like I said, I am deep diving into this. It's more than child trafficking, human trafficking, trafficking of any kind, animals as well. I mean, I think it was a W5. They were talking about Florida is like the hot spot for trafficked animals. Species that are not native to North America are now taking over. And I think they're talking about the wild boars, the wild pigs. And it's just very interesting how we want to, covet something. It's so exotic. I must have it. But oh my God, I have it now. What do I do with it? Oh, I'm just going to toss it in the swamp or whatever, right? No one will notice. Just like when we flush goldfish down the toilet, where do you think they end up? They end up in a pond and then they're eating the other fish. Oh my goodness. So it is more than child trafficking. And I am deep diving into, I've been thinking about Marianne Williamson, who I've followed for many years. I love her work. I love her spirit. I love her energy. And a friend of mine, he's a shaman. He said he's never been so excited about politics because of her. So doesn't matter Democrats, Republicans. I'm Canadian. Doesn't matter who the party is and actually who the person is. It's more about the message and how things are changing and shifting. Same with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I always wondered why he talks so raspy and actually it's a condition, right? I mean, I always wondered, I'm like, there's something going on with his throat. Well, there clearly is something going on with his throat. There's nothing he can do about it. It makes you pay attention though, right? Whether, it's like, oh, wow, what's with his voice? Or wow, he's so annoying. Like it works on both spectrums, but yeah, yeah, I mean, they're both, I believe, running for Democrats. I mean, you can correct me. I don't I follow a little bit of politics, but I'm not glued to the news or CNN, like some people are. So, I it just comes into, my feed here and there, and it's a beautiful time. I mean, I think of Bernie Sanders as too. I mean, he tried. He really, really tried, and he still is trying. And I know that there's a big a following with him, and that's how it's a ripple effect. That's how change happens. And now that we are aware, what are we going to do with it? I mean, why? I mean, let's think about Law and Order SVU. Why has that show been on for 20, is it 22 seasons? Because that was the dirty little secret that no one wanted to talk about. So a show like that made it easier for people to come forward, right? Gosh. And then I'm gonna switch gears to Little Bird TV series. And it's about the 60s scoop that happened in Canada and in the United States. And I believe it's streaming on Crave. I binged, I mean, it was 6 episodes. I did have to split them up because some parts were, uh, quite difficult, but essentially, the government, you know, empowered them or thought they were the power back then that, Indigenous living on the land with no electricity, no water, their children were not being properly taken care of. So they took it upon themselves, along with the RCMP, to remove children from their homes and tear families apart. And it was based on a true story. There were two boys and two girls, and three of them got taken away, including the main character, Beji. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that properly. I'm sure you'll correct me. Um, and just her search. I mean, she was adopted by a Jewish family, and I thought, wow." I'm not gonna give away the story, but how symbiotic, her mother was Jewish and they experienced the same thing just in a different way. Um, it was heart-wrenching. I was angry. I finally understood what that felt like. I mean, my mom was a ward of the government. Basically, that's what they were. And the mother, if you're a mother and you have children, to have your children taken from you, oh my God. Um, she was told that she could come to this hearing. And anyways, they just never gave her anybody a chance. They just did whatever they want. And of course, they would say you're crazy. There's something wrong with you. These are the rules and you've got to follow and play along. And I guess the underlying tone of this is we have been doing this for far too long. When are we actually going to stand up and be sovereign and be free and say these systems do not work? The government does not work. Actually, the government works for us, not the other way around. You know, and then I'm hearing stories, I mean, about the homeless. They're everywhere. But even people on the radio this morning were saying that, um, because there's rental scams going on in Calgary and probably going on across Canada because they're preying on, the new immigrants that are coming into Canada. So they'll say they have this rental, and then they'll ask them to send them money about it or for it. You never send money before signing anything or meeting or seeing the place. So I just the amount of scamming and, um, the criminal activities, it just seems like, again, there's that underground, there's that undercurrent, right? Or everybody goes underground when things hit the fan. I always say if, um, you're sneaking around and you don't wanna say what it is, it's already wrong, right? And if it happened to you, if you got scammed, don't be ashamed to tell your story because that might alert someone else to what's going on and prevent them from it happening to them, right? In all aspects. Um, there's so many scams. Take this spell or curse off of this person, have this person fall in love with you, manifest, millions of dollars, your dream home, your car, your perfect partner, all of that. It's about doing the inner work. No easy button or amount of affirmations or manifestation practices or tantric, whatever that is going to make that happen. Oh man. So the homeless, they were saying they got basically bid out of finding rentals. There's really nowhere to live. The housing shortage is huge. The rentals are non-existent. In fact, I want to say, I took a little mini vacation here, um, and I was going to extend my stay, but because this Calgary Stampede is happening here, guess what happened to the rates, the hotel rates? They doubled, if not tripled. Now, if that's not pure greed, I don't know what is. That's got to stop too. And people saying, well, that's just the way it is. What are you going to do about it? We're exactly this. Say it's not going to happen. Just like this hotel I stayed at. It is part of the Wyndham properties. And I found a cockroach in my bathroom. Ah, lost my mind. I mean, I had one cockroach come from the outside into my hotel room at the resort in Mexico. That I understand. Even when I was in South America, I didn't see cockroaches. I saw ants, but I didn't see cockroaches. Anyways, long story short, I had to check out early and then I left a terrible review, of course, about my experience because then I had to find another place. Well, the owner came back and said that I brought the cockroach in. That's laughable. And that I wanted it back. Oh, yeah, because we all have pet cockroaches. I You cannot make this stuff up. Anyways, oh boy. The amount of crazy, there seems to be no accountability. You know, part of healing and spiritual ascension, you must be aware that you have to be responsible and take action. Awareness, responsibility, and action. That's how healing works. That's how anything works in life. So, going back, they said they thank God that they had an RV because now they're camping for the summer because they have nowhere to live. This is, the lack of affordable housing, and even the houses that are affordable, I'm hearing they are awful. Awful. I wouldn't have my enemy live there. So, yeah, there is housing alienation, and it started with the government taking over indigenous land. I mean, I'll send you a link to a YouTube video that I watched all about it. It's very eye opening and it's systematic, it's like anything else. It's the frog in the boiling water analogy. You don't know when it's too late because you've just been like, oh, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, and then finally it's too late. So, what does freedom sound like to you? And, you know, what are you going to do to exercise your freedom? I know that we just had the 4th of July and Canada Day. Um, and normally I post about Happy Canada Day, but this year I felt it wasn't happy. Meaning, Canada has a lot of reconciliation to do. And what does reconciliation mean? It means the end of estrangement. I mean, you're saying you're doing all these things, Canadian government. However, you're not following through. So we have to hold the government to account. That's it. That's it. Wow. Okay. So let me know your thoughts on the movie, The Sound of Freedom. If you follow the underground operation, it's a movement funded by Tim Harris, but and also Marianne Williamson. How do you feel about her? Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Little Bird, and housing alienation. And maybe there's a topic you want me to talk about. These have all been on my mind all week. So even though it's only the middle of the week, it's been weighing heavy. And so I'm so glad I have this platform to share it with you all. So, all right. Yeah, so and just a little bit of housekeeping. I did talk about the Spiritual Healing Center. It is I have a GoFundMe. You can go check it out. There's a link there. I've also recorded a video about my morning routine. And again, I'm going to go back to the Schumann's resonance, that big spike, and it's still happening. We're having solar flares, big solar flares, actually the biggest they said in 17 years. So, um, you know, and we also had our biggest tornado in Alberta as well, between Didsbury and Red Deer there, or in that area. So just very interesting. And if you haven't listened to or watched my July energy update, it's out. I'm asking, how did you become an empath? Because there's lots of different ways. Truly, I believe we were born that way. However, some of us have adapted in different ways due to trauma and other things that were going on as a child. And this is coming soon. My 5 years is coming up. Thank you so much. I'm going to be holding a live party on YouTube only. So you'll have to sign up there. And I'll be releasing the date very, very soon. And you get to ask questions. Maybe you'd like some coaching, or maybe you'd like a reading of some type, mediumship, intuitive, cards, whatever it happens to be. So I'd love to see you there. All right. Well, I'm wishing you an amazing, beautiful week. And please take care of yourself and let the healing begin.